playing with the same suite of spells. It's 3 Rapids, 2 Rifts, and 2 Domestications.
Yes, I mean, we're basically in a mirror.
I mean, looking at the sideboard here, it's possible. I mean, we might be looking at pretty close to the same 75.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of crazy. These two guys might be pretty good friends. Even though Jake is on a mulligan of 5, Collin kept 6, and Jake is stuck with a 1-lander. Collin's got a Tidebinder Mage. That's going to be a Thassa as well, and this game could be over before it even starts.
Yeah. Once you're on the front foot with Thassa, it's kind of hard to give it up because these decks don't kill creatures.
Yep.
Your stuff just stays in play.
Time to scry. You saw Jake was agonizing over if he should keep those 5 cards or not. I don't know if he's going to win on mulligan of 4. You know, he's just got to kind of get lucky. And clearly he has not been able to do that this game. Out of the gates very slowly. There's Nykthos. That is a Cloudfin Raptor. This is a Frostburn Weird. Evolution on the Raptor. Bashing in with Thassa. We started here because we figured we'd have time to get to the backup.
Yeah, it might be much faster than even we initially anticipated.
Yeah. I mean, it's a one-sided affair. These mirror matches always feel that way. It seems like one person is just pretty far ahead of the other person. It's hard to actually play catch-up because of Thassa making things unblockable. And you can see the combination right now of the Devotion plus Nykthos in play with Thassa. Jake's never going to get the block.
Yeah.
He can play a Tidebinder Mage and shut down that Frostburn, and that's perfectly fine. But the fact that Thassa is on and it's never going to get turned off here is just probably too much to overcome.
Again, once you're on the front foot with Thassa, you can't even catch up with your own Thassa or Master Waves.
Yeah.
Invalidates the same cards on the way back because you can't block.
Collin gonna take a look. He's happy with what he found. Yeah, there's a Rapid. I'll turn back on Frostburn the following turn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shut this down. Make some things unblockable. Here's the beatdown. Judge's Miller, you can block that Cloudfin Raptor if you'd like. Looks like Collin did forget to evolve his Cloudfin Raptor after playing the Tidebinder Mage. A small hiccup in what is otherwise a very dominating game.
Yeah.
Jake almost did it for him, but hey, Jake, get your edge, man.
Yeah.
Get your edge.
Don't worry about it, man. I wouldn't stress too much.
If he forgets now, he might forget again.
And that Weird untaps.
Yeah, that will be untapped because there's no Tidebinder Mage in play.
Maybe one of these spots where, you know, not really playing the tightest here as the game is so wrapped up here.
Yeah.
A million different ways.
Everybody. Oh, okay. It's over. So Kyle Rountree's going to win game number 1 here over Jake Peralez. Mono Blue Devotion Mirror starts with a number 1 seed, winning game number 1.
Yep.
Very easily.
Very easily.
We come back to us where we're going to ask you a very difficult trivia question. Patrick has it. Use the hashtag of @SCGLive, hashtag SCG Premium. Of course, we'll announce the winner at the conclusion of our semifinal round. And as usual, all contests done here at the sole discretion of Star City Games. Twitch is no way affiliated with our giveaways of Star City Games Premium.
So we got semifinals, finals to cover. Then we're going to be moving on to the legacy portion. There's a player we've been talking about quite a bit. Second on our overall standings. First place of unqualified players in the race for the Season 3 point invite. Our resident Miracles expert, name that player.
And if you can, hashtag the answer, the hashtag SCG Premium at SCG Live is what you should be following on Twitter. And we will announce the winner at the conclusion of our semifinal round. Now we're going to take a look at sideboards. And they're going to look eerily similar.
I think these guys might hang out.
Maybe. Maybe.
Just think this doesn't feel like a coincidence.
Maybe they know each other.
They might, I don't know. It would be weird if these guys didn't hang out, you know?
That's true. Exact same 75. It would be a touch strange. As far as the cards to sideboard in here, each player's going to bring their domestication. I think that one's easy. Each player's going to bring the 3 gamesays. That one's pretty easy as well. Arguments can be made for Bidens or Jace, I think.
Of the 2, I like Jace quite a bit more because the plus power is good in certain spots. I don't think the game is about things like Biden. I think it's too fast. You don't even have time to leverage the extra cards you're drawing, and Thassa can also invalidate card advantage. You can draw extra cards and not be able to block with the creatures that you've drawn.
That's true.
So 4 mana is a lot. 4 mana is a lot to pay in this matchup, so I would not bring it in.
Leave it on the bench, he says.
I would leave it on the bench. I can see Jace coming in. Part of the problem, though, is these guys are about as well suited for the mirror match as you can really get.
They really are. They really
I
are.
mean,
Their spells that they're playing in the main deck, 2 Rifts, 2 Domestications, and 3 Rapids, are, I would say, like as far as spells goes, the best ones you can play to beat the mirror.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, no counter magic. I imagine that maybe Polymorphous just is better than I'm giving it credit for in the mirror. But besides that,
Well, loses all powers is a critical piece.
yeah.
That's something that can make combat pretty messy, maybe even get Thassa off the table in certain spots. Probably not. I mean, things need to break pretty specifically. They had to have, they had to allow you to block and all of that, but it's a card that I think has some legs in this deck.
It seems like a very nice 1 or 2 of.
Yeah.
I expect to see more of it in the future.
Now, Polymorphs just in a matchup like Jund Monsters, let's say, I'm less convinced that it's good there because they're playing against you to bring in a bunch of removal spells.
Yeah.
And that's not the type of effect you want when your opponent's overloading with removal. But in a matchup like this where it's, again, not that much in the way of removal, both players are just playing to the board, an effect like that can be really powerful.
Our other match, when we do have a result, we'll certainly let you guys know. I don't expect one right away, however. It is Jund Monsters versus Mono Blue Devotion. Again, that is our backup match, and it looks like we'll have some time to head that way.
Yeah. The mirror match here is rarely slow because of Thassa.
Yeah.
Someone just dies. Where the game where neither player has Thassa can actually get kind of bogged down, but that's rare.
Yeah, and then it becomes like an advantage about it becomes a game about Nightveil Spectre at that point.
Yeah.
Most of the time. We're underway here in too. It's a Judge's Familiar here from Jake. Jake able to actually keep 7 cards this go around. Same can be said for Collin. He's got a Judge's Familiar as well. And of course, here comes the big question. Are you supposed to trade? Are you supposed even to attack? Because this is Devotion deck. Now there's another Judge's Familiar before passing the turn back. You saw the second land there for Peralez was a Nykthos, not an island. That's important. Here's an attack for 1. Collin had nothing to do on the second turn, but this is him representing Gainsay right now.
Yeah. Though, whenever your opponent in the Blue Devotion deck plays a colorless land as their second or third land, usually means they're out.
Yep.
Because there's Nightveil Spectre in the deck, so you want to drop as many islands as possible.
And there's Gainsay to take care of that. See if Jake can draw a third land here. There's an attack for 1. Thassa? Yes, sir. Big draw. Big draw.
First one to get Thassa on the table really controls the terms of engagement for the rest of the game.
Yep. You saw Collin was able to leave up Gainsay on his third turn, or on his second turn, excuse me, but on the third turn, he cast Spectre, it got countered, and Thassa slid in. He still has Gainsay, but Gainsay's a lot worse now.
For sure.
There's Thassa. So each player has a God of the Sea. Jake will scry. See Domestication is, and that's a huge blot in the mirror if he can get it online.
And quite the Devotion enabler.
It does it all. Decisions here for Jake.
Seems like a good spot to land something of significance just because the Gainsay shields are down on the other side of the table.
Yep. And that's mighty important. There's a Mutavault, so there's a 4th land. Master's fine. Not great, but good. 3 Elementals going to come in. Thassa's not all on yet, but we're almost there. Rountree going to scry with his Thassa. Consult his hand. You see an island and a Gainsay. Not sure the rest of the contents, but he knows he's underneath some pressure now. So he's going to put that top card to the bottom. Draw a Mystery. Another island. Don't think that's what he needs.
And this is the tough thing. Once you're behind the 8-ball in the mirror against someone with Thassa, it's hard to catch up.
Yep. Gonna rift here. Looks like the plan here for Collin is to rift that now, Gainsay on the way back down, and be able to pay for the Judge's Familiar's 1.
The problem is that this play it's so obvious that that's what's going on here that Jake can do other stuff.
Yep.
And he has Thassa facing his draw here. He can kind of play non-essential elements to either bleed out the Gainsay or advance his board.
There's a Raptor. Maybe a Spectre. Yep. That one's worth countering.
Yeah, this is a great turn for Jake.
Hey, sure, you get a Night Veil Spectre counter, but the gainsay's out of the way. You get to attack from one, you get to build your board. You can play Master next turn, or maybe a double blue spell to turn on Thassa and start attacking, because Rountree is clearly a little bit weak at this point. If his turn is bounce your Master of Waves, counter on the way back down, you know that your opponent's weak.
Yeah.
So there's a Judge's Familiar. This is a Night Veil Spectre, and that is a Thassa attacking unblockable. So that's not a bad comeback.
Yeah, we'll see if Jake has some way to break up this devotion. I mean, I believe we saw domestication earlier,
Yep.
which is as bad as it gets for Collin in this spot.
Especially if he can play multiple spells in one turn via Nykthos. There's an island. Three and a 4. Someone would like a Night Veil Spectre. That's 5 devotion by itself. Welcome to the party, Thassa. And it's time to attack for 6. Now for Collin, you're looking for domestication.
Yeah. It really feels like the only card that can catch him up here. I'm surprised that Collin didn't block Judge's Familiar with his own. It's a small thing, but now he's on 10, which means Thassa's lethal in 2 shots.
hits.
And he needs to draw to domestication anyway.
See, Collin's going to make his Judge's Familiar unblockable after taking the top card of his deck, which is a land, put it directly into play. He knows he's dead.
Oh, yeah.
He knows how these games go. And there's basically no coming back. As long as Jake finds the kill this turn, as he's scrying right now, there is a Thassa Mutavault. That's 7. Judge's Familiar's 8. Spectre's 9 and 10. So this should be the last turn of the game.
And he has all the mana in the world to work with, too, because he has his Nykthos.
And his opponent has no cards in hand. So as long as he sees all of these things, there's a Master.
You may have heard in the background, that's our announcement. Our Legacy Open is kicking off.
Yep, round 1. Quite the turnout, it looks like. And activate this Mutavault. And everybody get in. And you have no blockers. And so we'll play a third one between Jake Peralez and Collin Rountree. Mono Blue Devotion Mirror goes to 3.
So get Thassa into play first. That's what you're telling me?
That's the trick.
That's the trick?
Or just get Thassa into play. I think that's also the other trick. It's huge. It's just huge in this matchup. The snowballing that takes place is just crazy.
Sometimes I wonder, maybe it's not good because of the gainsays in the deck, but do you think a card like Aetherize could potentially be good in the mirror match?
Aetherize and maybe even Aether Spout.
Yeah, Aether Spout's more expensive. It's flexible. You can bring it against other styles of decks, but an Aetherize just seems so sweet.
I think it's sweet if your opponent doesn't know about it. I think if your opponent knows, it gets a lot worse. But you could also be in a situation where it's like, you know, they have Aetherize and I can't do anything. So that's definitely possible, as Gabriel Wilson does win game number 1 over Richard Ritchie. So Mono Blue is up a game over Jun Monsters over there.
These sideboards are so tight. There's so many cards to choose from. I'm just thinking of cards if you wanted to try to specifically target the Mono Blue matchup.
Sure, sure. You start gainsays then.
Because you need to reset Thassas.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Once the Thassas in play, it looks like it sticks, and then you can't really block.
Splash for Deicide. Thoughts?
Those Temple of Enlightenments are just too big of a cost.
Yeah, they kind of stink, actually.
If it was one thing where you could just play with Ravnica dual lands and Pain lands, you know, if it was a red splash that you could do off of Shivan Reef and Steam Vents, that'd be one thing. But splashing white and not getting the Pain land is pretty tough.
Let's talk Mono Premier IQs really quickly here.
Yeah, let's do that.
We do have one that's taking place. $5,000 in cash prizes, open points to all participants. Top 4 receive an invitation. Of course, enhanced side events as well. We had our first one in Baltimore 2 weeks ago. It was won by Malirapod. Last weekend, won by Kent Ketters. He went undefeated in games. Yes, in games with The Rock.
And you can run these at your local store too. You can manage these tournaments the same way that you do all of your other IQs currently. You can see we already have some on the schedule. I believe we've already had some fire as well in Tampa, Tacoma, Knoxville, Denver, Roseville, Minnesota, more coming out throughout 2014. We're also running them at every open series, as Cedric just mentioned. 10 o'clock starts every Sunday. Always will be the modern format. Again, $5,000 in prizes, invites to the top 4, open series points, and much more.
Yeah, our modern Mirror IQ is actually going to fire here in less than 30 minutes, so
We've
players
hit
are starting to roll in for that, too.
We've hit 3 figures so far in the 2 that we've run. We had 200-ish in Baltimore and over 100 in Kansas City. So turnout has been good.
I talked to some players just yesterday. They're like, I'm just here for the modern Premier IQ. I'm
Yeah.
hanging out today, which was yesterday, for the Standard Open, watch my friends play and doing some trade and playing some side events, and I'm here to play tomorrow, so that's really cool.
Yeah, it's great for the Open Series because there's a lot of people that I know that, of course, our Standard Opens are always about twice as big as the Legacy Opens. And a lot of it just has to do with card availability. People want to play as many turns as possible, but Legacy decks are expensive.
Popularity of Standard, too.
Yeah, exactly. And being able to add these modern IQs means that players who don't quite have the budget or predilection to build Legacy decks can still participate in the Open Series on Sunday.
Jake going to take a mulligan again. He's been doing that quite a bit this match. He's
Yep.
able to keep 7. Last game was able to win it, but he's going to mulligan here, and we'll see if he can find a better 6 to start with.
No, this is one of the matchups where it's about specific cards and not how many cards do you have.
Sure.
So mulliganing is not nearly as bad here, and I think this is a matchup where you're supposed to aggressively mulligan too. Because Thassa and Master of Ways invalidate so many other cards you can draw that lands and spells with nothing powerful in it probably needs to get mulliganed here.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I think you can aggressively mulligan in this matchup. You're looking to curve out. You're looking for Thassa. You're looking for Nightveil Spectre. Maybe Gainsay on the draw to counter a turn 3 Thassa or Spectre. So I think you can aggressively mulligan. So let's see what Jake can find with 6. That's it's not a happy face. That's for sure. Would he keep now? Would he keep if he had 8? Don't know. He just
Don't
drew
know.
the other cards, yeah. I always do that when I mulligan. You know, I'll start
You
with
look?
7. I'll start with 7. I'll draw like 3 more, and I say I wouldn't even keep with these 10.
I don't look.
I always look. Doesn't influence my decision. I just like to look.
Just like to know.
Yeah, like a sweat. Should I kept that 1 lander? Probably not. That's why I mulliganed. Let's see what happens if I did keep it. Oh, would have been punished accordingly. Good.
I just send it back.
I gotta know. You ever want to know if that's that burn spell on the top or that land?
It's just, I have 7 random cards in my hand. They're
not random.
good enough. And then I got 3 random cards on the top of my deck. I roughly know what the odds of the distributions are. And so I'm not really interested in seeing what that random result is.
I gotta know.
Like when you walk past a pair of dice, you just pick them up and roll them just to see.
Is that the same?
It's pretty
I
close.
don't think that's the same.
There's a random outcome. You can go see it if you want to.
And the answer to your question is yes, because they're called craps tables in Vegas. So yes, when I walk by a table with random dice, I do roll them.
When I walk by a quarter that's on my nightstand, I just pick it up and flip it because I gotta know. I gotta know what the outcome is.
I don't think that's the same.
It's not the same, but it's closer than you think.
I would choose tails if they were a coin.
That's how you got me yesterday.
Yeah, you're right, I did.
I guess you practiced.
Tails never fails, as they say, which is not even close to true. Fails a lot, as here's a Cloud from Raptor to start things off. For game number 3, Raptor on the other side of things here. Collin, gonna evolve that Raptor via Frostburn. Weird in for 1, confidently. Jake gonna go down to 19. Does Jake have a second land? The answer is no.
Real shame for Jake here. Just has had 2 games here that he hasn't really been able to function.
Cloud from Raptor number 2. In for 3 we go. Does Collin have a third land? No. Okay. Man, if Jake was able to draw lands, we'd have something really different here.
Yep.
He could actually take advantage a little bit.
Some tie binder mage action.
Collin hasn't drawn a third land yet either. He's going to start by attacking with all of his creatures. Spin once. Now that'll be an attack for 5. I think this is a Judge's Familiar. Yep, pass the turn back. I don't think that was a land here for Peralez again. Gotta be frustrating. Watch these games go this way. Yeah. Maybe these guys know each other. Or maybe they're just very friendly.
Yeah.
Playing the same 75 and showing each other their hand during the game.
Yeah. Collin showing that he's been, he's got it. Hasn't been able to draw the third land, but kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah. He's already so far ahead.
It's one of those things where if Jake could have, drawn an island here and chained off some tie binder mages, he could catch back up, but now
Yeah, I think he's too far behind.
Just doesn't have a board. I mean, the Frostburn Weirds are going to kill him.
Rountree going to untap all the permanents, take a draw. If he finds a third land, it's basically lights out because Thassa would be in play. Hasn't found it yet, though. Does want to figure out how to attack appropriately. Your Judge's Familiar, for example, cannot come into the red zone because it would run right into a Raptor. But there we go. 2 Weirds and the 2/3 Raptor. Maybe we see a triple block on the Raptor?
We might see a chump block, too.
And just block there. Spin once, spin there. That'll bite the dust. 4 damage will come across. Peralez, does he draw a second land? Nope. Rountree's going to untap. He hasn't found his third land yet, but he doesn't need it. At least it feels that way.
Yeah, I feel like he'll be fine.
Yeah, attack with everybody. Nope. Yep. Familiars are on chump block duty, it looks like. And one familiar might trade with the other one, but let's see, Jake's going to try to figure out what he can do to the best of his ability here. Yep, those are all going to die. Rountree's going to follow up with a Tidebinder Mage, and Jake's going to get to see one more card pass the turn back, and Collin Rountree, after this last attack, there's a third island. Here is the Thassa. Evolve there. Attack with everybody. He is moving on to the finals, defeating his friend, clearly, in Jake Peralez. Mono Blue had no choice of moving to the finals. It's our #1 overall seed.
Yep. Not a lot to be done in games 1 and 3. Mulligan a bunch. Couldn't cast his stuff.
Yep.